Hold on, I'm gonna get some. Sure. All right, so I'm starting back up at 17 seconds here. Looks like, yeah, they're starting back up at 17 seconds. So we're here on a Sunday, and a lot's going on. You know, apparently last night there was a freestyle event in at Chickies and Pete's in South Philly last night. Apparently there was a George Lamond and kind of a crazy thing, right? I didn't get to go because I was working. Today I'm idle. No work for the X-Men today. This is the only day. Um, and we're just sitting out here on the breeze of the Sunday. I'm probably gonna go take a walk in a little bit, but I was just gonna say that like I said, apparently OJ Simpson had passed away this week from cancer, even though he denied it all in his videos, which is kind of weird to deny something like that. So part of crazy parts of history have been erased with the sands of time. Apparently, eventually it catches up to everybody in life, unfortunately, and you know. But like I said, OJ was a really good running back. And then it made me start thinking about other running backs, and I thought about one in particular that a lot of people wouldn't think about, and it was Craig Hayward, Ironhead, who used to play for the New Orleans Saints. He was a really good running back. He was pretty good. He was tough as nails, that guy. But he passed away at 44. Died at a young age. It was tough. 2 years away from how old I'll be. Um, and it was just tough. Sometimes God takes you earlier than normal. Unfortunately, and, it took Ironhead away. OJ's gone at 76. I didn't realize Morgan Freeman's like 90. I was like 91 or I don't know. Morgan Freeman's getting up there in age too. Morgan Freeman is probably one of the best vocal actors of all time. I was thinking about that today. How Morgan Freeman like changed the world with his voice and his intensity. The only one I didn't like is when he did it with Lacheet, because anything to do with Lacheet, I refuse to believe into that narrative. Um, but other than that, Morgan Freeman is amazing. You know, Great actor. Like him and Denzel, and Samuel L. They're like pretty much 1, 2, 3 there. When you run them down the line. I don't really have too much to say this week. I mean, I guess we're still in like the middle of April. It's still early in the month. The weather's breaking, so that's good. And you know, the Masters is being played. Tiger Woods is playing. I think he's somewhere in there. John Rahm and Scotty Seifler and these guys. I don't. I used to watch the Masters a little bit more than I do now. But I always remember Tiger Woods being the man. Tiger Woods he changed the whole definitive of golf. I think people will never realize that. I always, because I don't think Tiger Woods is that much older than me, honestly. But Tiger Woods going through a lot of stuff, man. From what I've seen. But you can't take away the skill set of Tiger Woods. He's always going to be up at the all-time greats, And it's a game where you can play forever, almost. It's not a game where you have to retire per se. It's just a game that you get good at and you play it and you execute it and it's good. I almost went to go play golf before. I should have probably sharpened up on my golf skills. I think like 94, 95, 93, somewhere around there. I was thinking about sharpening up my golf skills. But I never took it to the next level. I was a little too shy at the time, I guess. Never really got out and associated with people too much. That's what really happened. But, now it's 2024, so it's a little bit different. Um, I was running down great players that I had remembered. and players that were crazy. One of the craziest players that I always remember was that guy Jeff George, who used to play for the Atlanta Falcons. Uh, he pretty much single-handedly destroyed his own career because he actually had a pretty decent arm for a quarterback, but he just was just like crazy, the crazy things, you know. And Jeff, I mean, that was really the separation there. You know, Jeff George just not being a good quarterback when he was playing. Yeah, I don't even remember who was coaching the Falcons at that time. I know Dan Reeves came in later on for a couple of years. I think Dan Reeves really brought out the best of Michael Vick, you know, at the time, before all the dogfighting stuff. But then when they fired Dan Reeves, it didn't make sense to me because Dan Reeves he was the one guy that kind of, you know, I think he did win one ring. I think he was on the Giants. I don't remember how it went down, but I know that Dan Reeves definitely had a chance, you know. He was definitely a very good coach, and he passed away. You know, it was a whole different around. I'm all over the place, guys, so just bear with it. That's how I do things sometimes, but, you know, Dan Reeves was one of the coaches that I thought was, like, really, really, really good that never got anything. He was pretty much where Andy Reid was what Andy Reid was before the Chiefs, you know. And I kept thinking today, it's like, I was thinking yesterday, too. I was talking about the Eagles, too, and I was thinking, like, McNabb, you know, was a pretty good quarterback, I would believe. I mean, stat-wise, he had great stats, you know. Was he better than Randall? I don't think he was, because Randall was more versatile. He was everything. McNabb was just a quarterback that could run, that was big. But he was good. But at the same time, McNabb kind of faltered off, man. I don't think he really wanted. He played great at the times that he needed to, but he did play. He did again. He did make it to the Super Bowl, and he did go to 5 NFC Championship games. And I think that the Eagle fans can't forget that. You know, he did. He really did a phenomenal job in being part of what got them there. You know, it was. I think more or less, more than anything and everything, it was the defense that got the Eagles to that Super Bowl. Like these Eagles, the ones that won last year, they were okay, but they're still, 2 years ago, but they weren't like the '04 team or the '02 team, um, or even the '03 team. You know, they had a good defense. Jim Johnson, probably one of the best defensive coordinators of all time in the NFL. You know, like Dick LeBeau was pretty good, but then you had I forget his name, Bud Carson. A lot of guys don't know about Bud Carson because you're too young, but like Bud Carson was on the Eagles and he was on the Steelers. He had the steel curtain defense, Bud Carson. So, realistically, he was one of the best. You could put Greg Williams in there. He was pretty good. The only thing that he got caught up with was that Spygate thing on Favre, where they sent the guy after Favre. But, I mean, I think that was a little bit cheesy, too. I think they just wanted Favre to go to the Super Bowl again. I think it was a little bit everything. But I told people before that I had said before that Sean Payton is not a good head coach. And now people are saying, oh, you know, he's making it better. Well, look what he did. He just totally sideswiped Russell Wilson. Although the only thing that I would agree with on that whole matter with Russell Wilson is that he was getting paid way too much money. And at this juncture of his career, he wasn't worth it. Now he's going to be on the Steelers. Interesting to see what will happen with the Steelers this year. I feel like getting rid of Pickett and getting Wilson and getting Justin Fields in there with the Steelers could be very good. I think that the Steelers could win 11 games, 12 games this year because they have their receiver. I forget his name already. I'll have to go look it up because I don't watch the games as much as I used to. But you know, they have their running back, they have their receivers. And now you got two versatile, an older Wilson, but a young Justin Fields. So I feel like that could actually work out pretty good for the Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers won 11 or 12 games this year. And I know Mike Tomlin, they don't give Mike Tomlin enough credit. They don't. They're always like, oh, well, Mike Tomlin, they should have been fired a while ago. But you know what? They fired Andy Reid too fast. Look, he won 3 Super Bowls. He won 3 Super Bowls. Just think if the Eagles had won 3 Super Bowls instead of 1. That's really the biggest number. When you look at it, it was the ring that mattered at the end of the day. And Andy Reid's got 3 of them now. And people need to understand that. They let him go too early. They didn't want to go with the rebuilding process. They wanted, and then on top of it, you brought in Chip Kelly, which I don't know where that move came from. Chip Kelly was never going to be an NFL head coach, and then he got 2 chances at it. Much like Lane Kiffin. It didn't make much. It didn't make any sense to me. Why did they did that? Like, if you're going to roll the dice, you might as well roll the dice with a coordinator. Don't roll the dice with some guy from college that's coaching a college football team. That's like a arcade game, that has no clue how to roll with a team. And then try to give him full power of the team. Look what he did. He got you Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford. You just got to question those moves, man. That was probably the most embarrassing time in Eagles sports history, really. Trading Barkley away for nothing was tough, but like the way that they handled it when they shipped Deshaun Jackson out, they gave McCoy away. You gave your foundation away. What could have been for Sam Bradford. Like that's a serious offense right there. And I don't think, did you get picks and stuff and you got some guys? Maybe later on, but you got rid of him for Sam Bradford originally. That in itself was terrible. Just my take on it. So when they talk, and that's when people talk about Tomlin this and Tomlin didn't do that. But Mike Tomlin's a hard-nosed coach. He's a very good football coach. And I think people need to realize that instead of going out and breaking it down incorrectly, Like, look, what did you give him? You gave him Kenny Pickett. And you gave him Mitch Trubisky. What was he going to do with that? And he still got to the playoffs almost. He almost got in with Trubisky and Pickett. So that alone gives him a lot of credit. And he's been retooling every year. Because the NFL, obviously, 3 to 4 or 5 year span, and then you got to rebuild again. So, yeah, that's kind of like where I think they need to give him a lot more credit than what he gets. I'll tell you what. If Mike Tomlin came to the Eagles, I bet you he would turn them around. He would have been no Nick Sirianni talking about flowers and stuff like that. That's just stuff where you would just go out and smoke lots of weed and just say something irrational as that to be said. You know what I mean? Like, that's just an irrational statement, So, yeah, I think big things for the Steelers are coming up. So anyway, I'm going to get off here, but I think that's what my main basics was today. And, we'll see how everything transpires. There's a lot of big things coming up, big events coming up. I'll announce all that stuff as soon as I get time. So anyway, X-Man out.